and welcome back to your favorite YouTuber, the Chess Grandpastor, failed grandmaster trying to be a grandpastor. On the argument of the last World Chess Championship between GUKESH, of course, and Ding Liren, there's a lot for it to say. It's been some exciting couple of weeks, to say the least. I was hooked to the screen the whole time, and there's a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. First of all, GUKESH, the first 18-year-old world champion. Can you even imagine? The last youngest world champion was Garry Kasparov, and he won the title when he was almost 22, so you can count it as 21, I guess. But almost 22, and now GUKESH is 18 and is world chess champion, which is absolutely mind-boggling. It's insane. It's off the charts. It was unexpected, to say the least. Like, guy wasn't even a grandmaster in 2019. Yeah, 2019. So yeah, in 5 years from international master, should I say, to world champion is beyond human comprehension almost. And the rise of the Indian grandmasters is remarkable. Now, this whole time, I'm not going to try and hide that I'm passionate about Indians. I love India. I love Indian players. I love GUKESH from the beginning, from the first Olympiad when I got to know him. Most of the world got to know him. Like, he played like 8 or 9 or 10 games in a row without ever drawing or losing. 8 strong wins at Olympiad. That was insane. It was like 16 or something. It's a couple of years ago. And it's no secret that I'm rooting for the Indians all the time. But of course, you can't say nothing wrong about Ding Liren. Nothing bad about him. Like, I think the whole chess world loves Ding Liren. He used to be so strong. Like, most people don't know that because they started playing chess after 2020 or the global pandemic. But like 2019, Ding Liren was a monster. He was so good. He was playing the Catalan like a maniac. He was a great grandmaster, and he was playing at a top level. And it's a shame that he couldn't be a world champion back then, because it wouldn't felt like a real world champion. Like, he was better than Fabiano, most used to say, and second to Magnus maybe, but he was up there. So maybe people who got to know him in 2023 or something during his mental crisis, I would say, maybe tend to underestimate him, but that's only because they saw the dark side of him. He used to be so good as a grandmaster, so solid. It was very difficult to win against him. Like, he was with White, no chance you beat him. Maybe he draws a lot, but there is no chance he loses with White. In 2019, I'm talking about. And we got to see many sides of his, and most of us thought that it was going to be a massacre. Ding included, but by the way, that's his word, massacre. He said, I'm scared it was going to be a massacre. It clearly wasn't. It clearly was well-fought chess battle between the two giants. And we've had game where I would say both players played awful chess. And I'm saying that as a 1600 rate player and they're 2800, but that don't matter. I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing beyond the jokes, but they've played some games that were way beyond the level of a 2800 world champion and world chess champion challenger. But they've also played games where they shine really great games. Like, I think you call the last Ding Liren victory, last game, was perfectly played. Like, GUKESH couldn't do anything. It was so perfect the whole time. He reminded us he's the real Ding Liren. He's capable of playing that chess. He's just caught in his mind, I would say, no? But we are not to forget the kind of great player that he is. He was, and he is, and he's gonna be. But now, going in details of the games, I'm not gonna do the usual recaps. I've never done recaps when anyone but me says something in it. And no, but I'm not in a podcast gonna recap every single game, naming the moves one for, because it would be hard to follow and pointless, honestly. But a couple of good moments I'm gonna talk about. But before digging into the moves, the general structure of the match was, I'm sure you've all seen it. I don't think there was a game where Ding wasn't down like half an hour on move 10 or something. The guy thought and thought and thought on the first moves. It's like he wasn't prepared enough. I don't say he wasn't, but he felt like it. Maybe he wasn't, I don't know. But it was very, very weird. If you don't know, a high-level chess, the highest level of chess, what happens in a well-prepared match, like the World Chess Championship match, is something that you prepare for months, maybe a year, but let's say months, at least 6 months. What happens is you can't play mainline openings, because otherwise it's just going to be a draw. It's just going to be 14 draws. Because chess is dry at the highest level. You can't just play Petrov and hope to play for a win. You can't just play same old Italian. I get you can, but you have to prepare a surprise or something. You can't just play the main line over and over again and hope to have something, because you're not going to get it. Anything that you play, you have to prepare a surprise. Like, I don't know, back in the day, it was Kramnik played the Berlin against Garry Kasparov and beat him with that. Now it's just main line, it's just mainstream, the Berlin. But back in the day, it was unheard of. And he beat Kasparov with it. So you have to prepare something unheard of. Maybe it's something that has been played a couple of times, but it's very hidden, it's very hideous, and people don't know it. And that's how you are supposed to play for a win, because ultimately you can't just defend and win, because you're just going to make a lot of draws. So, GUKESH prepared a couple of interesting lines. They did good work, yeah, especially for 19-year-olds, of course. When you prepare these opening ideas, and you're never alone, there's a massive team behind you that's going to help, that's going to find the moves for you, that's going to prepare the openings for you, find the ideas and stuff. And it's funny how there's always like a little investigation for who's going to be in GUKESH's team, who's going to be in Ding Liren's team. And because it matters a lot, of course, because maybe an expert in let's say the Sicilian is going to prepare something in the Sicilian for the player, and vice versa for any opening. So there's always this massive investigation on who's going to be on whose team. And so yeah, the players prepared this opening, and it felt like Ding Liren was just not as sharp. He was not ambitious at all. GUKESH was very ambitious. We saw him in game 1. It was incredibly ambitious. He played like for a win the whole match. There was not one game that he settled for a draw. Like, he was always fighting, while Ding was just alright with an okay position. He was not always pushing, or very rarely pushing, should I say. He was just, was playing chess, just flat position, just let's settle for a draw when we see it later. And I think the main reason behind this is GUKESH is known for being bad, as in not as good as in classical, as in rapid chess, which is obviously the tie-break format. If after 14 games the score is draw, we play the rapid as a tie-break. And I think Ding was relying on that to beat GUKESH and retain the title. He was just, let's quickly draw the classical portion and we go to the tie-break, and I'll have a chance there. Given that GUKESH is far better in classical than he is in rapid. For some reason, which is weird, like most of the kids, take Alireza Firouzja, he's a monster in classical. But in Blitz, he's just top 3, I would say. 3-0. In Bullet, he's just out of this world. Online Bullet. But most of these, every guy is also monster Bullet player. And also in classical, he's nothing to shy away from. He's like top 4 across 20 800 also amongst these Indian guys are just out of this world. But that's beside the point. It's weird that Gukesh is not as sharp in rapid and blitz and even bullet, which I know actually blitz and bullet. He's played not that much, and I don't think he has a public account just to com leeches or anything. So, for some reason, though, he might be a beast in bullet, but I don't think it's the case. I think it's just very classical approach. Also, Magnus Carlsen is very good at calculation. Magnus said Gukesh is better than him at pure calculation, sheer like crunching precision and evaluating and everything. While of course Magnus is far better at memorizing openings and intuition. Intuition is absolutely broken. But as far as calculation goes, Gukesh is a beast. He's a machine. There's nothing that escaped from him, given he has enough time, which is of course the main flaw in rapid and blitz. So back to the preparation and how the flow of the match was. I realized it's going to be quite a messy podcast, but I've not written anything down. I'm just walking in my room and thinking of ideas and saying them out loud, and I do not care. And if you made it that far, oh my god, thank you. I do not expect many people to be that far into the podcast, so thank you, one of the few. So back to the match flow and what happened. The general scheme of the match was Gukesh prepping some insane line. I think for the first 4 games he played G4, or G5 is supposed to play with the black pieces or something like that. Like the G4 was touched a lot by Gukesh and it was pushed by two squares most of the time, which is very unconventional to say the least. But yeah, his prep was very aggressive, but Ding was just, I don't know how to say it. It feels like even his preparation was defensive. Like he did not come up with any insane idea. He's played a French, which is very rare. I think it's like the 3rd time we ever see a French in the World Chess Championship match. And yeah, he came up with his French and he beat Gukesh with it. The first game was insane. That game was nothing like the rest of the match, let me tell you. Because Gukesh was, okay, that's like the rest of the match. Was up on the clock like 30 minutes, 40 minutes in the beginning. But then at some point, something snapped inside of Ding. And he started playing fast and so precisely. Like, he was flashing out good moves like nothing. And he ended up winning that game. And that's something that happened a lot of times in this match, let me tell you. Gukesh maybe playing his prep, getting a good position, even with black pieces. Many times he was in a very comfortable position with the black pieces out of the opening. And then all of a sudden, Ding was flashing out perfect moves, down an hour on the clock maybe even. It's happened. And managed to defend the position. He did some defensive masterclass, let me tell you. Way too often we look at this match and we say like, yeah, no, Ding played too slow and he got a bad position at the opening. And we forget how good he was at defending this match. I'm not talking about old Ding, about 2019 Ding. I'm talking about this very match. He was defending very, very, very hard position. He didn't get a winning position, but every time he got a winning position, it was like, yeah, let's go for a draw. Let's not play too aggressive. Let's take no risks at all. And maybe slip away good position. That's what happened the whole time. So, I guess not the most perfect opening preparation. And then Gukesh maybe being up a lot of time and not being able to capitalize because Ding was just defending so good. But of course, not all games were draws, of course. There is, of course, I talked about the first Ding victory, first ever game. Can I tell you something? I was swimming that day. I went swimming in the pool, and I came back, and I hooked on my phone to look at the position, and it was like maybe the first 20 minutes had been played. I did not miss a lot of the game. I saw the position, I saw maybe Gukesh spent 2 minutes or something, and Ding was down thinking, there's like 6 moves or something, down half an hour, low time. I thought, man, this is gonna be a massacre. Ding is not in. And Ding won the game. We all thought it was gonna be a massacre. Like half an hour into the game, we thought, oh man, Gukesh is winning the first game, and no, that didn't happen. Gukesh lost the game. So it was indeed a combative match. Of course it was. So what happened the times the games were decisive? What about them? So the second, should I say, game that was decisive was Gukesh's victory, taking the match score back to even. And that game was, how do I say, it was Ding playing, taking the pawn on c2, I believe, with the bishop, and was just opening dominance by Gukesh. Just he prepared like that game very well, and there was nothing that Ding could have done. He played relatively risky, taking the pawn on c2 and then not backing the bishop to f5, I believe it was. Again, sorry, I don't have a chessboard in front of me, so I'm just going by memory, but I think it's correct. Should have played bishop f5 and bishop e6 and just went back with the bishop, but he got it trapped. Bishop was stuck on c2, and that won Gukesh the game. So for the first Gukesh victory, that's what happened, was just opening dominance by Gukesh. And then for the next decisive game, it was Gukesh's victory. And what happened was Ding hung a piece. Ding hung a knight. And maybe chess fans were, I don't want to say mad, I'm going to say pissed. Like, we thought, I'm putting myself in, we thought that match is not at a highest level. Like, we have Magnus Carlsen. Can I say something, guys? I'm going to go deeper on that later, but we are spoiled. With Magnus Carlsen, we've been spoiled to great chess. But these are humans, man. That's what they do. Don't expect them to play like computers, like engines, like Stockfish. Stuff happens, shit happens, you know. And he hung a knight. He was down pressure the whole time. He was down a lot of time the whole game again. And it was already a very unpleasant position, and Gukesh managed to get the victory and achieve his first advantage of the match score, of the match, of course. So score was, I don't remember how many draws we had until then, but let's just say Gukesh was up about one game, and Ding needed to, with the white pieces, to get the victory and even the score. And man, he did it. He played a perfect game. When I saw the game live, the only thing I thought was that that's a world champion playing. Like, that fucking single game was Ding completely dominating Gukesh. And it's not Gukesh's fault. Like, the first loss of Gukesh's, I can see emotion got to him, and he was physically shaking at the board. You can see the hand was shaking. Boy, he's 17 years old. What do you even expect of him? But the other game, the Ding won. Nothing. Just played so good, so aggressive. So every decision was good. It's like you need a win and you go and take it. That's something that maybe Magnus does. Maybe. But it's rare to see at the higher chess levels. It reminded me of Kasparov. Maybe not Kasparov, but because Kasparov is way more aggressive than Ding is. But yeah, it's a style of chess that we rarely see. Just need a win, go take the win, and play perfectly and take risks. It was like the Ding we all knew from 2019. And repeating myself, but Gukesh tried to do what he could, but there was nothing. It was an unstoppable force. As much as you are an immovable object, unstoppable force is unstoppable. So that's the second Ding's victory. It was back and forth, I guess. Like, it mainly depended on Ding's form, I would say. Like, when he hung the knight and he lost the game, like, it feels bad not to say it's Gukesh's merit to have won that game. But it's kind of Ding's fault to have lost it. I always say sometimes decisive chess games have a winner and sometimes they have a loser. Like sometimes you legitimately play genuinely so good that you deserve to win, and sometimes that your opponent just melts in front of you and you end up with a winning position and you win it. But it's the other guy that lost it. It's not you that win it. Of course, it's more complicated at highest level. And not giving everything for granted. Like you can land in a very, very, very winning position against any of those guys and still screw this up at our level. But what I'm saying is, the games that GUKESH won, it felt like Ding melted. Except for, I guess, game, was it 3? When GUKESH had the white pieces and, the Bishop C2 game. That one was GUKESH's prep went super well and he beat GUKESH. He beat Ding with rank scoring. Otherwise, most of the times was just Ding melting. And when Ding won, like the 2 games that he won, the first one kind of was GUKESH's losing that game. It was not Ding winning. He just played normal chess, played a French defense. Not much came out to the opening. Not particularly enjoying position. It was the A5, A4, A3 idea and the ultimate one on your game. But yeah, I guess just the emotion got to GUKESH and he won. Ding won. But the second game was Ding winning. There's no doubt it was Ding winning. And otherwise, it was mostly the guy that lost the game. It was not the guy that won the game, if you know what I mean. It is a tough concept to explain, but I hope it is clear. Now, for the new chapter of the fantastic Chess GrandPascast podcast. How does this Chess World Championship match compare to the previous ones? From the Magnus one, or even the Fisherman's Basket ones, or any other historic match? Now, I already said we were spoiled by Magnus, because he's of course probably the best player we've ever seen on earth, and he's played fantastic chess, but he's had worthy opponents. First one comes to mind is Fabiano Caruana, of course, and he was a very tough match for Magnus. In fact, he's never lost. Fabiano's never lost to Magnus in that match in Classical. It was tied 14-14. There never was a decisive game. They went to the rapid tie break to decide the world champion, and of course Magnus ended up winning that. What's interesting is Fabiano had more winning position than Magnus had. So it's very close. Probably the closest match we've had, like ever, or last 30 years or something. I'm not sure, but it was very close. And very clearly the best 2 players that were around at the point. Very clearly, no one was even close. And feels very different in this one championship because, of course, Magnus ain't playing, but many might argue that Caruana or maybe even Hikaru or Nebo, of course, are better than Ding and GUKESH at this point. And it's weird. It's weird because, to my knowledge, it's never happened that the clearly best chess player on earth is not playing for the World Chess Championship. Of course, I'm not criticizing Magnus. He's well in his right to not play, but it's a very weird situation. And he's saying he's semi-retired, so he's not playing as much classical chess, if any at all. He's gonna stop very soon, I believe. He believes. And I don't know. People just expected perfect chess, like either 14 draws, like with Magnus and Caruana, or maybe just like Magnus as an airport, but one player was clearly the best one, and the other was a valid contestant, but still ended up losing very clearly. And Nebo was in incredible shape, just people have forgotten about his performance as a candidate, but he was destroying everybody. He had like 9 points out of the candidates, which is insane. No, maybe not 9, but it was a lot. It was like unheard of. People don't do that many points in the candidates. Nepal was doing fantastic that year, and he got destroyed. But he didn't get destroyed, but he lost that game 6, and people were expecting. I guess they were expecting some game 6. That game was redeemed as the most accurate chess game ever played by 2 humans, classical, not correspondence, which is it's what it is. It was a colossal effort by Magnus to take down the beast that Nepal was, and he succeeded, winning then the World Chess Championship quite fairly easy after that one game. But I don't know, maybe people were used to that. There's also the fact that, let's not lie to ourselves, 90% of the people that follow chess right now were not following chess in 2019, 2018 or before. Majority of us, and that includes me, have joined chess or have started following chess or playing chess after the Queen's Gambit, after the pandemic, after many even after the Hans Niemann scandal, you know. So we were like dropped into this new thing, and we saw Magnus competing at the very start of our entrance into the world of chess in 2020, 2021. Magnus was just the emperor of chess. And then, and now we see a place where there's not one clear better player than the others. But what I'm trying to say is, it's not always been like that. It's not always been like there's the clear winner. Like at the time of Kasparov or Fischer, they were clearly the best one in the group, and it was not even close. They were destroying everybody. Kasparov had a reign for like 20 years. He was uncontested best player on earth. Just think about the Deep Blue moment. Deep Blue was, of course, the first engine that defeated a world champion. That world champion was Garry Kasparov. And he was chosen to play against Deep Blue because he was clearly the best that humans has got. It was like, we need a human to destroy, to beat Deep Blue. And we gave it Kasparov because it was not contested. But there was a time in history that there wasn't one clear winner. One example is after Kasparov's reign, there was Kramnik, which is of course the man that took down Kasparov. But there was also the young Anand. There was very young Magnus Carlsen. There was Aronian, of course, he was very strong. There was Peter Leko. There were many very, very, very great chess players, but it was not as dominant as Magnus is or as Kasparov was. So we should not feel weird that we do not have a clear world champion as his best player alive at all costs. It does not have to be like that. I actually think it can be a little more enjoyable now that he's not like that. And what do I see about the future? Do I see GUKESH reigning and being the clearly uncontested number 1 for years and years and years, maybe winning 6 to 7 World Chess Championship matches in a row and then retiring? And that's a possibility, I don't know, but also there are people around him which are also very, very young. Just to name a few, Ali Reza, Arjun Brigasi or Pragnananda, even Abdusattorov. Guy is very good. He's been like the World Rapid Chess Championship. He was like 18 or 19 too. Went kind of under the radar, but he's insane too. And he's that young. And also honorable mention to Faustino Oro. Bro is like 10 and he's like FIDE master. And he's so good at online chess. Everything is going to be many said the new Magnus Carlsen. I don't know about that because pressure builds up and life is difficult and you can't make prediction when you're 10 years of age. But he's been a master, but he's like incredible. He's growing so fast. And there are so many of these Indian or everyone else really chess prodigies in the early 20s to late teens. And they're just so promising and you don't know what they're going to do. Yeah, it's possible that GUKESH is going to be the uncontested world champion, but I do not think it's going to be the case. Frankly, I think it's more fascinating if it's not, if you don't have a clear winner. If it's like 5 or 6 guy contesting and fighting and constantly knocking each other out. It's more enjoyable, I believe, from a spectator point of view. And of course, for some time, relatively older chess players, I'm gonna keep lingering, like various Magnus, Hikaru, Fabi, Jan, MVL, just to name a few, Anashgiri, without chance, but just to name a few. These are the most important ones. Wesley So, of course. I couldn't possibly name them all, but they're gonna linger for like 5, 6, 7 years. But then once they're gone, it's gonna be just Ali Reza, GUKESH, Prague, Arigaisi, and all of these guys. Vidit, all of these guys. Now, Vidit, I think it's a little bit older, but not by much. He's like 26 or something. Doesn't matter. Anyways, I'm very excited for this new future of chess, and of course, having the youngest ever chess world champion is an honor to have been spectators. And trust me, we're gonna be telling our grandchildren, I was there when GUKESH won the World Chess Championship at 18 years old, just like maybe older people I know that are into chess tell me they started playing during Karpov games, learned from Karpov, and then witnessed Kasparov taking the crown and everything that happened after. So these are my thoughts about the future of chess, what we're expecting, what's GUKESH doing, and about this chess match. It was relatively weird, but I want to put my emphasis on it's not as weird I was making it seem. Like, we are expecting way too much from these people. That people, they're not machines, they're not stockfish and leader. And yeah, I think we had a great match. It was very enjoyable to watch. I am honored to have witnessed this in person. And yeah, I guess that's it. Feel free to leave any questions you want in the comments, and I'll be glad to answer that maybe in a future episode, or I don't know. I don't even know what's gonna happen with this channel, honestly. I don't know what I'm doing right now, but if you're listening through this, I am so genuinely impressed. What the fuck? I'm grateful. What? Thank you. What are you even doing here? Thank you. Bye.